Hey everyone, you're here with Josh Thomson, former Strikeforce Lightweight World Champion, and my co-host Sam Diggity. Go to iTunes for the full podcast. Also hit that subscribe button to be notified for new content. I mean, is this a classic case of that 165 pounds needs to start? Because RDA and Cowboy Cerrone are the guys that just they're caught in the middle. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to explain to some Twitter troll on our YouTube channel.
Stupid. You're so dumb.
What I was trying to explain to people was that they're going to shut down the 125-pound division, and rightfully so. And when they do, they're going to start up the 165-pound division. And people were like, oh, well, that's fucked up. Why can't you have them both? Or why do you have to get rid of one and then start the other? I said, well, look, why are you going to pay a whole division to be on the roster? When you sign them, and it says in your contract, if they don't fight you in a certain amount of time, that they have to pay you out on all the fights that they agreed to sign you to. So let's just say they can never have you as a main event because 125-pounders never really do very well for the main event.
And that's been proven. That's been proven.
Yeah, that's been proven already. And before we jump the gun, okay, let me give you, I have an experience with this. The 155-pound division didn't do that either. And that's why they shut it down when it was back in 2003 to 2004 when I was fighting for them the first time.
Did they have it back then?
That's when I was fighting for them. Yes.
You're talking about 155.
Yes, that's what I
thought you meant 125.
No, I'm saying that's why I'm saying I have experience with this. Is the reason why they got rid of the 155-pound division. Good thing you're paying attention. Maybe people at home are.
I'm like at a 40%.
Yeah, look at he's.
I'm like at a 40%.
He's like, wait,
pay attention.
5 equals plus 1 to 5 pounds. Anyways.
I'm like on a 40 to 50% pay attention scale.
Yeah, I could tell.
It's been
only when his wife's yelling at him about the pay-per-view numbers.
then it drops down to like 15%.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
all, not listening.
So my experience with this is that they may eventually bring it back later on because the 155 did not do well, and so we could never headline. They had BJ Penn, they had Din Thomas, they had myself, Hermes Franca, Yves Edwards. You would consider us probably to be some of the most exciting guys to fight, basically in UFC history. And if you look at the list of guys that we had at that time, I mean, the fights were fucking amazing. The problem is that when it just didn't translate to pay-per-view numbers, so they had a hard time putting us on or selling us as main events. And at that time, it was a really weird time. Was that BJ had just fought Uno for the second time, and it ended up being like a draw. Jens Pulver left and went to Pride and was the champion after he just beat BJ. And it was a really weird kind of time for the lightweight division. So they weren't just making the numbers for it. So they got rid of the division altogether, and they eventually brought it back. But my point is, the reason why I was talking about this is that get rid of that division at 125. Start the 165, move the 170 to 175, and now you have 3 of the most exciting weight classes you can build around. Because right now they've got so many 155-pounders falling out their fucking ass. They have no idea what to do with. And guys are sitting around waiting for fights. And not the ones that aren't sitting around waiting for fights, they could be building in the 165-pound division, or they could have 3 different champions that are exciting to watch. So then you can have Conor could be, I'm just throwing this out here, and I'm only simply saying this because you could have Conor at 155. You could have Max Holloway come up to 55, or he could stay at 45. You got Khabib at 165 potentially, and maybe even 175. You've got T. Wood and Ben Askren. Look, I like Ben Askren. I think he's very talented. I just don't think that you were going to stake claim on him being very entertaining ever. But he's definitely very good at what he does.
He can win some fights. Yeah, so entertaining or not, he's going to win some fights.
I do agree with you on that. But what you do when you start the 165-pound weight class is you open up the idea of GSP fighting Conor at 165. You open up the idea of GSP fighting Khabib at 165. You open up the idea of T. Wood dropping to 65 and then also being the champion at 175. So you're mixing T. Wood getting to potentially Conor or potentially Khabib, which is the fight that a lot of people are talking about. You have all these things. Plus, you got Cowboy Cerrone, you've got Dos Anjos, you've got Gamebred, Masvidal. You've got all these guys that are just so fun to watch. And now you have 3 weight classes to market these guys. and there's no now you can have multiple champions in multiple weight classes. I think it's a win-win for the UFC. I think it's a win-win for the sport in general. I think,
big time.
And I would love to see Bellator do the same thing: is bump 70 to 75 and also keep it at 165. Then it gives them a chance to sign more talent as well.
True, but I think it makes sense for the fan. UFC, like you said, the roster's so thick, so
they're
deep.
about 600, maybe 650 fighters on their roster.
So that makes sense. But do you think it benefits Bellator as well because they don't have as many stars and they're really building those?
Well, I want to say they
gets
just signed like
steep.
40 or 50, something like that, some astronomical number of European fighters. So, granted, they're going to probably fight over in Europe a little bit more, but they did sign them, and they're all on the roster now. So, I don't really know what that means, or I haven't got into the conversations, with Scott about the whole deal. But I do know a lot of those European fighters are between the 35 all the way up to the 70-pound weight class.
Okay, so you think Bellator will follow suit with the divisions?
I don't know if they will. I'm not going to speak on that, but I think they would be smart for the UFC to do it. And I believe from what I've talked to some people that are with the UFC, and they've said that, yes, we have been talking about it. Yes, it does. It pretty much sounds like it's going to happen. And part of that is getting rid of the 125-pound weight class and moving it into the 165-pound, where they have just a plethora of entertaining fighters. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that exclusive content of Sammy and the Punk. Also, hit these videos for more exclusive content and hit the subscribe button on the bottom corner.